Hello and welcome to the Content Bite. We are a podcast for anyone who uses their words to make money. And I'm Rachel Smith, a journalist, copywriter, and content producer, and the founder of Rachel's List. Today, my co-pilot is, as always, Lynn Testoni. Hi, Lynn.
Hi again, Rach. How are you?
I'm good.
Hello to all good. Hello to all our lovely listeners as well. I'm also a journalist and a content producer, and today's episode is all about Think Weeks, Rachel. And it's all about taking time away from your work to make it better. Because we thought, I think we both felt we needed a break this week, didn't we? It's a bit.
I need a break every week.
Come on. It's because I think it's been a bit unrelenting this week and lately, and sometimes I think it's so tempting to keep working nonstop because I don't know about you, but I have a fear that the work is going to stop at any point. I do feel I'm a bit on a hamster wheel at the moment and I have no idea where I'm headed.
Yeah, I feel like that too. Just that sense of I've got to take everything. I've got to say yes to everything. Although I just had an email from an editor that said, can you make these changes by tomorrow? And I'm like, really? By Sunday lunchtime? Like, oh my God.
No.
It feels a bit crazy, doesn't it? What's being asked of everybody and it's
like capitalizing on our fears, isn't it?
Absolutely. And the thing is, we don't know what's going to happen. That's true. But I think it's a really interesting time, whether you have loads of work or whether you don't have any work. But I think the kind of nugget of the idea that came for this week's episode was from an article I saw about how Bill Gates used to go to a cabin in the woods for a week or two to think. And while he was there, he would come up with a lot of his best ideas and strategies for Microsoft. And he actually does this twice a year, I think, and has a private chef who brings him meals, which sounds absolutely lovely, and also keeps him stocked with cans of Diet Orange Crush, which is always important, I suppose.
One of the stories I read about this was that Diet Coke. I don't know which ones.
Maybe both.
Maybe. I would take an unlimited supply of Earl Grey, I think, and maybe perhaps some champagne.
English breakfast for me, and maybe a little white wine for those nights by the open fire. But I think maybe we're missing the point here beyond the Diet Orange Crush or the tea or the, wine.
Or the wine.
Think weeks are really supposed to be an opportunity to work on your business, aren't they? That's what it's all about.
Yeah, because I think we're all a bit guilty of working in the business rather than on the business a lot of the time. And sometimes I think you just need to get away from it all to see it clearly. I'm not sure if I could do what Bill Gates did. He left the family and the house and holed up in a cabin in the woods. I'm not sure how my family would take that. And but I did listen to a podcast today that talked about Lin-Manuel Miranda, who did this amazing musical which comes to Australia next year called Hamilton. And his first musical was called In the Heights, and it was this big indie hit, and it took him, into a whole new stratosphere, and it took over his life. And eventually he finally took a week off and he went away and took a few books to read. And one of the books he took with him was Ron Chernow's biography of Alexander Hamilton. Mm-hmm. And that's why he came up with that idea, which is a really different sort of musical. It really is rewritten musicals. Mm-hmm. So maybe you need to go away, or maybe I need a week away with a couple of good books.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, as a mum of a 5-year-old, I think, probably lots of parents out there will agree with me that the big dream is going to a hotel on your own for a week and having that space to think or, do what you want to do. But organising something like that, for me anyway, would just take military precision. And when I got there, I'd probably be so organised from the process of I'd be so exhausted from the process of organising it that I'd just watch Netflix and order room service for 7 days straight.
Well, that sounds nice. I mean, yes. The appeal of escaping, you've got the 5-year-old, I've got a 17-year-old doing the HSC. It's sort of similar.
Opposite ends of the crazy spectrum.
Yes. But I do think you can create your own Think Week, something that works for you and gives you some space to do deep creative thought. I do go to a yoga retreat once a year, just a weekend. And that I find it's a great way to clear my head and get a new focus. And it's something I do just for me. I don't go with any friends or family or anything, and but I don't know if that's exactly what this is about. Have you ever taken a week to think about your writing and workshop new ideas and strategies? I think you do something every now and again with the Rachel's List team, don't you, to think up ideas and strategy?
Yes, we have from time to time, because we're largely a remote team. Well, sometimes one of us will go to the other one and get in a hotel, and then we'll kind of use that hotel room for 2 days straight to sort of nut out strategy and content ideas, masterclass topics for the coming year, and that sort of thing. We've done that for a few years in a row, and I think it can be a really useful thing to do if you're in a company and you're not usually face to face. And we also do a lot of Claire and I do a lot of brainstorming sessions face to face, or we did pre-COVID. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that some of the stuff that I've seen written about Think Weeks is that you basically actively have to block that time off in your schedule, otherwise you'll never do it, which makes perfect sense to me. Something's always going to
Yes.
come up to fill your schedule. And probably choose accommodation that's in nature. I think with Bill Gates, he was in a cabin in the Midwest or something. But there are so many amazing Airbnb options, and I'm such an Airbnb scrolling tragic. I just look at them
Are
all
you?
and dream of a holiday. So I know that there are tiny houses out there, like in the middle of nowhere. There are incredible like cabins and on hills in near Jenolan Caves, and there are lodges. I've even seen trains in the Blue Mountains that have been converted into boutique hotels that would just be perfect for a really creative think week. So I think you need to take the time to find the right accommodation.
So what about the internet? Do you think that's allowed on a Think Week?
Well, I don't know. I reckon it depends on what you're doing. But I did read one study that was done on hikers, and that found that when they completely disconnected from technology and fully immersed themselves in nature, their creative thinking and problem solving improved by like 50%, which is incredible. And also, I think being in nature, if you are in a cabin that's surrounded by nature, you can take those breaks, you can exercise, you can do yoga, you can, do just maybe even just run around a bit. And there are other studies, of course, that show that it boosts the part of your brain that's involved in memory and learning, which is what you want on a Think Week, because you want to come up with
Yep.
ideas and retain them and get them down.
Okay, no internet, check. Damn. Cabin in the bush, check. And you take a pile of inspirational books, papers, reports, downloaded podcast episodes, that sort of thing. I think that's what Bill Gates did when I looked at it.
Mm.
And the idea is that the books can be fiction or non-fiction, but they're supposed to be a bit thought-provoking. So you just read, write, and think. It really does sound like heaven, doesn't it?
I know.
I think also I read somebody who did it, and he always took a journal and he used to write everything down all the time, and whether that's an ideas notebook like digital or print. You can actually have one with you all the time and then just make notes when you think of, those clever ideas. We talked about having ideas in the shower. That's where all
Yep.
my best ideas are.
Yeah.
And basically you take that sort of journal or list of ideas with you. So, because, my hate, Rachel, is to start anything with a blank sheet of paper. So having a few things to get me going that I've always thought about and not got with. Yeah.
Yes. Regular listeners of the Content Bite will know that Lynn cannot leave her desk unless she has written a few lines of the next day's story.
Yes.
Otherwise, she can't sleep at night, basically.
Yes.
no blank
sheets
of paper.
Piece of paper.
But it is true. Like, I think that, you definitely need something so that you can record your ideas and your output or enlarge on your ideas. Yeah. Or even record your ideas with a dictaphone or something, some way of capturing all of that sort of stuff, I think is really important. And, if you're going to you mentioned having a digital way of capturing your ideas before perhaps you go on this Think Week. I do that with Evernote. Like, I have lots of notebooks within Evernote, and I'm constantly chucking ideas into the notebooks, and then I can go back and look at them when I have time or I want to go to a certain idea. That sort of thing.
Oh, that's a good idea. I've heard of Evernote. It's been on my list. I need to Think Week to try all those things.
You do. But that brings us to, the $1 million question. Do you take a laptop on your Think Week, or another $1 million question. Do you take a co-thinker with you?
I don't know. I'm not sure about the laptop. I have a bad feeling I'd end up scrolling social media. And but I'd welcome taking a co-thinker with me if I had a big project that you just need to finish, like such as a book. A lot of people have talked about that in ideas. And we've been talking about writing a book together, Rachel. Maybe we need a content by Think Week to do it.
That sounds absolutely perfect. I will find the cabin. You can bring the wine and the tea. But make mine English breakfast, please.
Okay. Yes,
and I want some of those scones that you give everybody else and not me.
Yeah, I feel bad about the scones. Well, I've been making a lot of scones that I don't know if listeners know, but often when some of my friends in the industry have been made redundant, I have them around for scones and
redundancy scones.
Redundancy
scones.
It's a
thing. It's a thing at Lynn's house.
Yes, for you, yes. Oh, of course, what I always do also, Rachel, is suggest they join Rachel's list, you see, so they tap into that, so I sort of give you virtual redundancy scones. But honestly, when this is all over and we do a podcast together in the same room, definitely scones.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going away with my mum next week on a little driving holiday around New South Wales. We can't leave the state, but we're just doing a little bit of a jaunt just to try and spread our tourism dollars to people that have not had anything. Yeah. And I'll still be working by writing every morning, but I won't have any parenting or house duties.
Oh, wow.
So I'm hoping to clear my head a little bit. Watch out, Rachel.
You're going to be an ideas machine. You're going to come back. I'll be super burnt out and I'll just be like a puddle on the floor and you'll be throwing ideas at me. Well, look, have lots of fun with your mum and have lots of fun doing no parenting or house duties. And thank you everyone for listening. We hope we've given you a few ideas for planning your own Think Week. And if you have had a Think Week or you're thinking about having a Think Week, a lot of thinks in that sentence. Tell us about it on our Facebook group, The Content Bite, or send us an email or what else?
Yes, don't forget, if you love what we do, send us a review and please leave us a rating and review on iTunes. I know that we've actually had a few on Podbean as well, I've noticed.
Oh, yes,
and Stitcher.
Thank you to everyone who's reviewed us. We read them all and we just it's so lovely to hear what you think of the show. So thank you.
Okay, and that's it for this week. We've got another special guest, I think, next week. But
do we?
It's all very exciting. Oh, we do.
Lynn knows the schedule more than I do.
Clearly. No, that's because I'm going away for a week and you've got a 5-year-old.
Okay. Well, we'll see you all next week.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.